I am Stan Vindell for Preserving Arizona Wilderness, and this is the 4th episode. And today we're in the Kachina Peaks Wilderness, and we're going to be hiking the Kachina Trail. Join me as we go on this journey of hiking and environmental protection along with recreational opportunities. Our sponsors for today are Dignity Health, Grateful Shred Skates, Idea Karma Technology, and Bernard and Hannah Strauss. Arizona has 90 designated wilderness areas. Wilderness areas are designated by Congress and protected from development and motorized vehicles. Each wilderness area is special in its own way, as they range from the desert to the high mountains and have a variety of animal and bird life, as hiking, nature photography, camping, and birding are among the recreational activities. We have made it to the Kachina Wilderness sign, which is about 3/4 of a mile into the Kachina Trail. The Kachina Trail is 18,616 acres, and it was designated by Congress in 1984. The Arizona Wilderness Coalition defines wilderness areas where the earth and its communities of life are left unchanged by people, where the primary forces of nature are in control, and where people themselves are visitors who do not remain. There are 6 trails in the Kachina Peaks Wilderness. The sign shows you that we're 5.1 miles from the Weatherford Trail, and then there's the Humphrey Trail, which goes to the High Point in Arizona, and the other trails in the Kachina Peaks Wilderness are Bear Jaw, Avenal, Inner Basin, and the Kachina Trail, which we're hiking today. Look at these glorious peaks behind me. This is the San Francisco Peaks mountain range. This area is named for Hopi deities or Kachinas, whom that culture's stories tell us live here for part of every year. In midsummer, these deities fly from the top of the peaks to the Hopi mesas as clouds bring the nourishing rains of the seasonal monsoons. The San Francisco Peaks and the Kachina Trail are known for its aspens, but they're even more beautiful on the Kachina Trail because of the ferns that are here. These ferns during summer can grow 8 feet tall. Some of the areas you walk by during the summer, it looks like a fern forest. And there are also the different times of year for the ferns. During the summer, they're green. This time of year, they're turning colors where they might look yellow and orange. And then during winter, they get a little drab brown. Hikers appreciate the Kachina Trail, and here are the thoughts of Flagstaff resident Cammie Scott.
I'm a huge fan of all the big rocks and the aspen trees. And like I was telling you guys earlier, I was just coming around the corner feeling like I was coming out of Lord of the Rings, which is one of my favorite stories. So I think that inspires a lot of this trail too. There's fields to come further down the trail that are just completely orange and up to your face. So it's absolutely gorgeous.
The Kachina Trail starts at 9,350 feet, which is why people from the Phoenix Valley might feel winded. The Kachina Trail dips down to 8,800 feet, and while there are no big inclines or declines like on Humphreys Peak, there are a lot of 200 to 300 feet up and downs, so this still gives you a great workout. The Kachina Trail is 9.8 miles round trip, but hooks into trails leading to Doyle Saddle to the left or Friedland Prairie Road to the right, so you can make this as long or short as you want. We are about to descend down these rocks, these boulders, and a lot of the Kachina Trail is easy, but Richard and Sherry Mangum in their book Flagstaff Hikes, they rate it as a hard hike, and here's why. A lot of the trail has tree stumps in the middle of the trail, and if you don't watch your footing, you can hurt yourself. Second thing is other parts of the trail. You know, there are parts of the trail that are really clear and easy to walk. It's deceptive. It makes you let down your safeguard. But you need to watch for these stumps growing in the middle of the trail, and there is also a lot of scree in some portions of the trail. But the hardest part of the trail is right here, and you'll see why as we descend down these rocks. It's not very hard, kids do it all the time, but if you don't watch yourself and be careful, you could hurt yourself. So let's head on down. We are at the cave, which is about 2 miles into the Kachina Trail. What a beautiful spot. During the summer when it's hot, any time of year, this is a great spot to come in, have lunch, have snacks, just chill out. But during summer when it's hot, this is really a great place. Just a few flowers are left from the summer, but during the summer, the Kachina Peaks Trail could have a wonderful array of flowers, a dozen different types. You have lupins, you have firecracker penstemons, but right now we still have something beautiful. I have seen bears right in this area. I have seen a bear with its cubs, and there is a lot of wildlife on the San Francisco Peaks. There are butterflies during the right season. There are squirrels. This place is full of a lot of wildlife, and of course bears are very prominent on the San Francisco Peaks. The Kachina Wilderness and area has suffered several fires over the last several years. There was a fire last year that forced the hiking trail to be reconfigured. So you want to do whatever you can. First of all, when you are hiking, be wary of fire. If there is fire, get out as quickly as possible. The second thing is leave no trash behind. Don't spark anything, and do whatever you can to prevent forest fires. The U.S. Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, and the National Park Service are mandated to protect these wilderness areas. Other groups like the Wild Arizona and Sierra Club help protect them as well. These areas are worth preserving for the beauty they behold, including the landscapes, animals, and birds. But the question remains, what would happen to these lands if they were not protected? Just another reason to make sure you pack out all your trash. Live by the hiker's creed of leave no trace. Dogs are allowed on the trail, but should be leashed. Now a word from our sponsor, Dignity Health.
For the hearts that love, for the ones who care, heart to heart, hand in hand.
Our next sponsor is Grateful Shred Skates.
We are Grateful Shred Skates. I'm Jeremy, J-Dog. I'm Bones, Todd. Taco Tim. Brent, Little B, Furman. Nathan Noodle. Woo! Yeah!
And finally, we thank our last two sponsors, Idea Karma and Bernard and Hannah Strauss. Preserving Arizona wilderness is not only important because of the beauty of the land, wildlife habitat, and recreational opportunities, but also cultural values. Here is Yavapai Camp Verde Apache Elder Don Decker to explain the significance of the Kachina Trail and San Francisco Peaks to him and many Native Americans.
My people come from Camp Verde River, and all the way to Payson, and we are known as the Diljan Apache. And Diljan means we hunt in Apache, the literal translation of that. And we've been in this area for a long time, since time immemorial. We like to believe that way too, as well too. So we're long-time residents of the area, and I'm really glad to be up here on the San Francisco Peaks today. This is just Choke, they call it. Big mountain by the Apache people. Sacred place to 13 other Indian tribes in the Southwest. The Apache people, the Yavapai, the Zuni people, Hopi, Navajo, the Paiutes, and all the others, the Wallapai and the Supai people. Closest that we came to the peaks was in Mormon Lake, which is about 28 miles south of here, where there was a group of Dulce Apaches from Camp Verde that moved up there in the mid-1800s, and they used to come up here to the Flagstaff area to summer up in the area because it was too hot in the Verde Valley. So when they came up here, they did a lot of hunting, and there was a lot of water up here. Still is a lot of water, but also they made alliances with the Hopi people and the Navajo people too, because this is Navajo and Hopi territory up here. And so the respect was paid to those people, the Hopi and the Navajo people, when the Apaches came up to this area to gather different types of herbs as well too. On this mountain, back on the north side of this mountain, there are different types of tobaccos up there that the Apaches used to gather to be used in their ceremony. And so the significance of this mountain is very close to the Apache people. These feathers have a special significance for the Apache people, and used in prayers to make connection to what we call the supernatural world of the Apache people. And so these mountains make us closer to the creator source for which we say our prayers to. The earliest record keeping that was done by an anthropologist from Massachusetts, his name was Granville Goodwin. He wrote a book called The Social Organization of the Western Apache. And he came to the area in the late 1920s, where he met my great-grandfather, Henry Irving, who was an Apache medicine man from Camp Verde, Fossil Creek, and Payson area. The anthropologist asked my grandfather, Henry Irving, to be sort of like a right-hand man to documenting the area. Of course, when I talk about my grandfather, his name was Diele, which means dreamer. And he was a what you would call a soothsayer, or he could predict the future. He was clairvoyant. I grew up on a different reservation in eastern Arizona, on the San Carlos Apache Reservation. My grandfather had moved down there right before World War II, and he was from Camp Verde. His name was Johnson Irving, and he was the son of Henry Irving, the dreamer, my great-grandfather that I talked about earlier. And when he moved down there, he met an Apache lady, his second wife. And when I moved there with him, we came up here in 1956 to participate in the annual All-Indian Powwow that was held in Flagstaff that everybody knows about. It's a historical event where 100,000 people from the different Indian nations came to Flagstaff in covered wagons with drawn by horses, who camped out in the downtown area, west side of Flagstaff, to witness a rodeo, cultural events, dances, night fires, cooking. There was even gambling on blankets in the forest. And I saw the mountain for the very first time, And so when my grandfather, we came in view of the mountain, and that's when my grandfather told me about the name of the mountain, just Cho. And this is how I came to know the area when I first came here when I was about 10 years old. But when I came back to graduate school in 1976 at Northern Arizona University to get my master's in education, other rock and roll people like Jackson Brown and Jesse Colin Young and people like that came here, and they were the very first people from Hollywood that came here to support the efforts of the Native people that had objections to the development of the ski lodge, or the continued operation of the ski lodge on the mountains of the San Francisco peaks. So at that time, I became more familiar with the area and the issues surrounding the peaks. Back in 2006, when there was a big hearing about the Snow Bowl development here, and there was a lot of resistance against the introduction of reclaimed water that was to be making snow for the snow area, for the skiing area up here. I participated in a hearing of the Ninth Circuit Court hearing in 2006 in San Francisco. That connection that we have, guarding the mountains, so to speak, we are the guardians of the mountains, and looking at this place as a special place where it shouldn't be desecrated. And so to this day, unfortunately, the Ninth Circuit Court ruled against the 13 Indian tribes that filed an objection to the introduction of reclaimed water, wastewater actually, to the peats. And so we lost our case. The significance is very important to us, the religious and spiritual connection that we have to this place.
Don Decker compares the violation of the mountain with wastewater to somebody taking people's Bibles away.
And that is the analogy that I like to use as I talk about the significance of the spiritual value of this mountain as it relates to me and my life too. And I like to remember this mountain as a very integral part of my life, my personal life. As we came up this morning, I noticed there's really a lot of cars in the area here. And I think there are a lot of non-Indian people have the same concerns that we have too, of honoring the significance and the special places that nature offers to us. So it has special significance for all human beings.
I'm asking you to join me as we continue our adventures in Arizona's 90 wilderness areas. I'll show you why these areas must be protected, both for the wildlife that call this place home and for the enjoyment of future generations. I am Stan Dell for Preserving Arizona Wilderness.